Have you ever felt like you're on the outside of your own life? Like you're here, but somehow not in it? Maybe you're walking through your day, ticking the boxes, playing the part, doing everything right. And yet there's this quiet ache, a feeling that something's missing, even though you can't quite name what. So you try harder. You read more books, you fix your mindset, you meditate, you manifest. You work on yourself again and again, hoping that this time the feeling of wholeness will stick. But what if it's not something you can achieve? What if the real reason you feel separate is because you're trying so hard to be separate? What if you were never meant to be a self floating in space, trying to manage life from the outside? What if you were meant to be life itself, not the one watching, but the one flowing, moving, breathing in sync with everything around you? In this video, we're going to let go of the idea that you're here to control life. We're going to remember what it feels like to be part of it, not the thinker of the thought, not the fixer of the self, but the presence behind it all, the one that was never missing. Because the moment you stop trying to be whole, you might realize you already are. What if the sense of separation you carry, the feeling that you're in here and the world is out there, was never actually real? What if that line between you and life is not a fixed truth, but a habit of perception? We've been trained from the very beginning to see ourselves as separate. You are the body, you are the name. You are the story, the voice in your head, the person in the mirror. And everything else, people, time, nature, noise, silence, is out there, happening around you. This illusion of separateness becomes the lens through which we experience the world. And it creates a constant undercurrent of effort, because if life is something happening to you, then of course you must guard yourself, control outcomes, protect your identity, and seek out joy like it's a limited resource. But there's another way of being, a quieter way, a truer way. It begins not by thinking differently, but by simply being differently, by becoming present. Because when you are truly present, something extraordinary happens. The boundary between self and world begins to dissolve. It's not dramatic. There's no big event, no fireworks. It's subtle, like fog lifting from a familiar road. You might be sitting at a window just watching the trees, and suddenly you're not you watching a tree anymore. There is just the watching, just the presence, just the stillness in which tree and observer are part of the same whole. You haven't disappeared. You've returned to the deeper truth that you are not just in the universe, you are the universe expressed in temporary form. And in that moment, peace arises, not because you've found it, but because you've stopped resisting what already is. The mind may try to pull you back into labels. That's me. That's not me. This is my thought. That's someone else's. But the longer you rest in presence, the less those divisions make sense. It's not that you lose your sense of self. It's that your sense of self expands beyond the body, beyond the name, beyond the concept of me. You start to feel connected in ways you never could have imagined. The sound of the wind isn't just background noise. It's your breath playing through the trees. The emotion in someone's voice doesn't feel like it's happening to you. It feels like a movement inside a larger field of being. And you are that field. Even discomfort, even pain begins to soften, not because it goes away, but because it's no longer something you have to fight. It's simply energy arising and dissolving in the vast space of your awareness. This is what unity consciousness feels like, not an escape from life, but a full surrender into it. You become the silence behind the words, the awareness behind the thought, the presence behind the person. And from this place, something else begins to bloom. Joy. But not the kind of joy you've been chasing. Not the fleeting high that comes and goes with circumstances. Not the joy that relies on things working out. This is a joy that doesn't rise from pleasure. It rises from wholeness, from the simple, undeniable fact that you exist, that you're here, that in this moment you don't have to be anything other than what you are. That joy is not an emotion, it is a quality of presence itself. And love too shifts. It's no longer about what someone gives you. It becomes the very fabric of awareness. You look at a stranger and feel it not romantic, not sentimental, but deeply real. Because when the illusion of separation falls away, what's left is love. Not as a feeling, but as a state of being. You don't need to manufacture it. You are it. And the world becomes a mirror of that love, reflecting it back to you in moments of stillness, in small gestures, in quiet beauty. But none of this can be forced. You can't will presence into being. You can only invite it. You can only soften, open, and rest in what already is. So how do you begin? Not by mastering a technique, but by becoming curious. By noticing. Right now, notice what's here. Feel your body not as an object, but as sensation. Hear the sounds around you, not as distractions, but as part of one living moment. And sense the space between things, the space between thoughts, between sounds, between breaths. That space is presence. That space is where unity lives. And the more you rest in that space, the more the boundary between you and life dissolves. Not because you disappear, but because you remember. You remember that you are not separate from this moment. You are this moment. You are the stillness and the movement, the breath and the one breathing, the observer and the observed. You are consciousness temporarily shaped into a person, experiencing itself through sensation, thought, emotion, sound. And when you stop trying to define it all, when you stop trying to make life mean something, life begins to show you what it already means. It means this moment, this breath, this awareness, complete, unbroken, whole. And from here, joy is not something you seek. Joy is something you recognize as the truth of what you've always been. Every moment is a doorway, not a metaphorical one, a real one. A soft, living threshold between the unconscious and the awake. Between the one who is busy surviving life and the one who is truly living it. But most of the time we walk right past that door. Not because we're unworthy, not because we're broken, but because we've forgotten to look. We are so wrapped in momentum, in urgency, in doing, that we miss the miracle that's quietly unfolding all around us. The breath that just entered your lungs, that was a moment. The way the light just shifted on the wall, that was the moment. The tension in your shoulders, you just became aware of, that was a moment. And each one of them was an invitation, not to change, not to fix, but to notice, to pause, to arrive. We live under the spell of later. We say, I'll rest when things slow down. I'll enjoy life once this is done. I'll feel beauty again after I fix this mess. But life doesn't happen later. It happens now. And now. And now. Again. Every moment is extending its hand to you, like a friend who's been waiting patiently at your side, whispering, come back. You don't need to wait. You don't need to earn it. You're allowed to feel peace right now. But most of us ignore that whisper, not because we don't want peace, but because we've been trained to believe peace is a luxury. That to rest is to be lazy. That to feel joy when the world is chaotic is selfish. That to stop moving is to fall behind. But here's what's more dangerous than slowing down. Living your whole life outside of it. Going through the motions, succeeding on paper, keeping up appearances, while missing the depth, the texture, the beauty of being here. Presence is not a break from life. Presence is life. And when you bring your full awareness into this moment without agenda, without resistance, you don't just see life more clearly. You see yourself more clearly. You begin to remember that you were never made to live on autopilot. You were never meant to feel numb, fragmented, distant from your own experience. You were made for presence, for connection, for the kind of aliveness that doesn't depend on circumstances. And the secret is, it's already here, always here, waiting. The mind may ask, what's the point of noticing this moment? What does it get me? But that's the wrong question. The point isn't to get somewhere. The point is the moment. The purpose is the noticing. Because when you're present, something shifts. A flower isn't just a flower, it's color and texture and warmth. A touch isn't just a gesture, it's intimacy, care, a whole history of feeling. Even your own breath, something you've taken 10,000 times today without realizing, becomes a kind of miracle. And that's not poetic fluff. That's what happens when you stop trying to analyze the moment and start inhabiting it. The ordinary becomes sacred. The familiar becomes beautiful. Not because the world changed, but because you did. You said yes to the invitation. You stepped through the door. So how do we do this practically? Start small. Don't try to be present all the time. That only creates more striving. Instead, ask, can I be present for this breath, this sip of tea, this sensation in my chest, this laugh, this tear? Let each one be a complete experience. Nothing to achieve. Nowhere else to go. Just this. Fully. Softly. When you begin to live like this, not perfectly but intentionally, your entire relationship to life transforms. You no longer see moments as obstacles to get past. You see them as invitations to return. Return to what? To yourself. To reality. To truth, love and beauty, not as ideals, but as living qualities of this exact moment. There's no need to improve the now. There's only the invitation to say yes to it. And the more you say yes, not blindly but openly, the more the world begins to glow from the inside out. Colors seem brighter, sounds more musical. Even pain becomes something you can hold with grace, because you're no longer running from it, you're with it. And that witness changes everything, because presence doesn't mean perfection. It means intimacy. It means honesty. It means choosing to meet this moment, not as a task, but as a friend. When you do that again and again, moment after moment, beauty stops being something you chase. It becomes the ground you walk on. And joy stops being a rare event. It becomes your resting state, the background hum of a life lived fully awake. This is available to you not someday, not when everything is in order, not after your next breakthrough. Right now, in this breath, in this sensation, in this invitation. You don't have to accept it every time, but the more you do, the more life begins to reveal its true nature. And the more you begin to recognize your own. Not as someone trying to become something, but as someone who is already everything, just remembering one moment at a time. There comes a moment in any deep inner journey when the search itself begins to dissolve. You've spent years trying to find something, peace, clarity, identity, love. You've tried becoming better, thinking deeper, pushing further. But then, in a quiet, unremarkable moment, something shifts. Not because you finally arrived somewhere new, but because you finally stopped trying to get anywhere at all. And in that stillness, a deeper truth begins to emerge, not as a belief but as a knowing. You were never the seeker. You were what was being sought all along. You were not the thoughts, not the emotions, not even the you that was trying to make sense of it all. You were the presence behind all of it. Silent, spacious, whole. This is self-realization not as a mystical experience reserved for the few, but as a natural unfolding available to everyone. It's not something you achieve, it's something you remember. Something you uncover when the noise quiets and the light of awareness shines without obstruction. In that light, you begin to see the great illusion you've been living under. The idea that you are separate from others, separate from nature, separate from the flow of life. That illusion is deeply ingrained. It's woven into the way we speak, the way we compete, the way we defend ourselves from perceived threats. It's built into the architecture of modern life. And for a long time, it serves a purpose. It gives us identity, boundaries, structure. But eventually, the separation becomes painful. It becomes lonely. You can feel surrounded by people and still feel profoundly disconnected. Not because you're broken, but because you're sensing the truth behind the mask. That this isolated self isn't all there is. And when you get quiet enough, when you step back into presence, that wall between you and the world begins to dissolve, not in theory, but in felt experience. You begin to see that the breath moving through your body is not yours. It's the breath of life itself, passing through the same way it passes through trees, oceans, animals, sky. You realize that the awareness noticing your thoughts is the same awareness noticing the wind outside. The same awareness noticing a stranger across the room. The same awareness moving through all things. There is only one awareness wearing different faces. And the one you've called me is not a fixed identity, but a temporary shape taken by something infinite. This isn't philosophy. It's not something to believe. It's something to feel. Right now, close your eyes. Take a breath, not a special breath, just the next one. And ask gently, who is breathing? Who is aware of this breath? Don't try to answer with words. Let the question echo. And feel into the silence that follows. That silence is you. Not the personal you, not the historical you, but the formless, boundless awareness that gives rise to all experience. This is self-realization not as a distant goal, but as a return to what you've always been. When this begins to dawn, everything changes. You stop fighting so much. You stop needing to be right all the time. You stop obsessing over being someone in particular. Because you start to feel that who you are is not defined by what you do or what you have or how others see you. Who you are is presence itself, unshakable, undivided, free. And in that freedom, life stops being a problem to solve. It becomes a mystery to live. You realize you're not a person navigating a world, you are the world, temporarily experiencing itself as a person. You are not separate from the tree outside your window. You are not separate from the rain, the sky, the stranger on the street. You are not even separate from your challenges. They too arise within the field of your awareness. Everything belongs because everything is you, not the ego you, the beingness you. And the more you rest in that, the more life begins to harmonize. Not because all your circumstances become perfect, but because the conflict in your identity starts to dissolve. You're no longer a fragment chasing wholeness. You are wholeness remembering itself, and in that remembrance, love arises. Not as something given or taken, not as something earned or lost, but as the natural radiance of being. You love not because you should, but because you can't help it. You recognize yourself in everything. And compassion becomes as effortless as breathing. This is the quiet revolution of presence. It doesn't make you more powerful. It reveals that you never needed power in the first place, because you are already part of the whole. You don't need to reach the light. You are made of it. And when you walk through life with this awareness, however softly, however imperfectly, you become an instrument of peace. Not because you've mastered anything, but because you've remembered what matters. You are not a separate observer of life. You are life, awake to itself. And in that awakening, you are finally deeply home. There's a strange and quiet truth we rarely hear in this world of goals, growth, and endless self-improvement. Joy is not something you find. Beauty is not something you build. They are what's left when you stop searching. For most of our lives, we've been taught to look outward. We pursue meaning through achievement. We chase fulfillment through doing. We attach joy to outcomes: when I get the job, when I meet the right person, when everything finally falls into place. And beauty, we're told it's a matter of taste, of status, of polish. Something outside of us, something we have to add to life, like a filter. But what if we've had it backward all along? What if beauty isn't something you discover out there, but something you reveal by being fully present? What if joy doesn't arrive after you've done everything right, but emerges naturally the moment you stop resisting what is? The deeper you go into presence, the more this becomes clear. When you are deeply here, aware, awake, available joy starts to bubble up. Not because something amazing just happened, but because you're no longer covering it up. It was always there, under the layers. Joy is not an emotion in response to pleasure. It's a signature of being. It's the gentle hum of existence itself, constantly vibrating beneath the surface, waiting for you to notice it. And beauty? Beauty is not in the thing you're looking at, it's in the way you're looking. A cracked sidewalk becomes beautiful when seen without judgment. A tired face becomes beautiful when seen with compassion. Even silence becomes beautiful when you stop trying to fill it. That's what presence does. It doesn't change the world, it reveals it. It reveals the miracle you've been standing inside all along. And once you felt that, even once, deeply and clearly, something in you changes forever. You start to see the world not as a problem to solve, but as a living artwork, imperfect, fleeting, alive with color and rhythm and texture. Not perfect, but real. And that realness carries a beauty so raw it humbles you. But we lose this vision every time we fall back into the trance of doing. When we chase joy, it slips through our fingers. When we strive for beauty, it becomes performance. And when we try to control the moment, we miss the miracle that's already here. Presence is not about effort, it's about intimacy. The kind of closeness that happens when there's nothing in the way, no thoughts about how things should be, no mental noise saying, not yet, no comparison, no planning, no commentary, just this. Just life as it is. Just you as you are. And in that stillness, in that raw, unfiltered experience, the true qualities of life begin to shine through like stars emerging when the sky goes dark. Joy, beauty, love, not because you earned them, not because you achieved something, but because you finally stopped running. There's nothing you need to add to this moment to make it sick. It already is. The air you're breathing has been breathed by oceans, forests, strangers you've never met. The light around you was born in stars millions of years ago. The awareness noticing this sentence is the same awareness that noticed your first breath and will notice your last. You are not apart from life. You are life, awake to itself. And when you stop treating beauty and joy as goals, you stop chasing them like prey. You begin to walk with them as companions. They arise gently, like waves, when you're no longer trying to shape the ocean. So ask yourself, what happens if I stop trying to feel joy and just get curious about what's here? What happens if I stop trying to find beauty and simply open my eyes? What happens if I stop trying to be someone and just let myself be? These are not questions with intellectual answers. They are questions that point you back to direct experience. Try it. Look around not with the eyes of someone measuring the moment, but with the eyes of someone seeing it for the first time. Feel your breath not to calm down or do it right, but just to feel it. Let your thoughts come and go, like clouds, without chasing, without resisting. And somewhere inside that quiet you may sense something new, or maybe not new, maybe ancient, maybe what you've been searching for all along. The joy of being, the beauty of being, not needing to explain itself, not needing to be more than it is, complete, present, undeniable. This is the gift of presence. Not that it adds to life, but that it reveals what life has always been. So stop chasing, stop performing, stop waiting. What you're seeking is already here. And it's not asking you to be perfect, it's only asking you to notice. If something opened in you during this journey, stay with it. Don't rush to the next task.